Hello, this is my first look at the Linux operating system Nitrux 5.0, a recent release. We're going to try to install it in a QEMU virtual machine. So you search on Google for Nitrux. The first result here, nxos.org, says that it uses KDE technologies, OpenRC. There's a special toolkit, graphical user interface toolkit, MAUI. And for the graphical user interface environment, there's Hyperland with Wayland. Let's download. I'm trying to create the download URL. Takes me to SourceForge, Nitrux files. And I'm not sure what's happening here. Nitrux 5. And then there are two ISO files, both AMD64. And probably the difference is between NVIDIA or not NVIDIA. So probably I'm going to go with this file. The download speed is really bad, 100 kilobytes per second. So I'm going to retry because there's a system of mirrors to SourceForge. Maybe the next mirror that I'm going to be served is going to be way faster. This time the download speed is 900 kilobytes per second, which is still nothing. I should wait 3/4 of an hour. So let's try again. The third mirror is offering 15 megabytes per second, which is way better. While it's downloading, let's read through the release announcement. So Nitrux version 5, Uri Herrera. This is how it should look like by default. It no longer uses KDE Plasma Desktop. They have transitioned to Hyperland. If you're on a previous version of the operating system, such as Nitrux 3.9.1, you should back up your current installation and install clean from scratch Nitrux version 5. You should not try an upgrade. There's app management applications, NX App Hub, and app boxes. There's Flatpak support. There's a distro box. And the operating system is immutable. It uses OpenRC for services management. Immutable root. NX overlay root. Nitrux update tool system. Effortless rollbacks. Okay. All sorts of software choices here. There's Flatpak, Pipewire, and Wire Plumber. There's X-Wayland Qt. There's AppArmor, Docker, and Podman. GridD as probably the display manager. with Qt Grid on top. Various WL roots pieces, Waybar, Crystal Dock, and then it says that the operating system prefers Fuse 3 compared to Fuse 2, and some of app images are Fuse 2 only. So app boxes is an alternative to app images because it uses Fuse 3. I have never heard of app boxes up until this moment. So in this blog post they are announced. An app box is a special variety of an app image. It tries to use already existing deb files and finding and the updates are handled by the suite of applications NX App Hub CLI and the graphical user interface applications built on top. I have checked the integrity of the ISO. So I have downloaded both the file with extension ISO and the file with extension SHA-512. And I have run the command line SHA-512 sum and then the name of the ISO file. And then I have looked at the content of the file with extension SHA-512, and it's the same thing, starts with 98C and ends with 33D. Let's try to install in Virt Manager. File, new virtual machine, ISO, browse the file with extension ISO Nitrux Contemporary. Let's select something new. 10 gigabytes of random access memory, 8 vCPUs, 200 gigabytes NVMe. Nitrux, and I'll want to customize it. Maybe it works better on UEFI. The rest of the settings are probably okay. Hopefully it does support VirtIO for network interface card and for storage. Okay, it says that it doesn't support secure boot, which is good. Attempt secure boot on next reboot. No. F10 to save. Press Y to confirm. Okay. And we want to shut down. And add back the ISO. Okay, so let's look at the boot options. CD-ROM should be on the first position. CD-ROM should contain the ISO file, VirtIO 200 gigabytes. Everything should be okay. Let's start the operating system. Okay, boot Nitrux live. GRUB. I have pressed enter. And it has booted in live CD mode from the ISO. The upstream Nitrux says that you should not use this operating system in virtual machines of any kind. You should run the operating system on real hardware. The system has way more than 4 gigabytes of random access memory. Hopefully. Yes, it does. Okay, let's see how to install. There should be a Calamares installer option somewhere. Okay, so this talks about how to put on an ISO or on a DVD or on the ISO on a USB stick or on a DVD unit. We're not using secure boot. I'm not exactly sure how to start Calamares. Launch the installer. Let's try installing it using this command line. Of course, copy paste does not work. Sudo e start Calamares. Password for Nitrux. So there's a Linux local user account in the live CD environment, which is called Nitrux with password Nitrux, which is a sudoer, I guess. Let's see how we can maximize something. How do we do that? Maximize. So I have selected American English. New York. I'm not sure if all of the options in Calamares are visible if I cannot minimize this window or move it or something. Pinned. I don't know. What if we just close it? Yeah, it kills Calamares because it's a child application. -E. Yeah, I don't know how to have a application that runs as root available in the desktop of the user Nitrux. English American. Hopefully this extremely small real estate in width is enough. Full name. Username administrator. Name of computer. Choose the password. Repeat password. Require strong passwords. Next. Erase disk. EFI, which means GPT partition table, probably. Yes. Swap to hibernate. Swap, don't hibernate. No swap. Swap to file. XFS 49 gigabytes. Why? Home directory 133 F2FS /var 20 gigabytes F2FS. Wow. I would just use ext4 and be done with it. But let's accept the defaults. Okay. How do I maximize this window then? No need. Okay, install button. Install now. So this is probably a crash. How do we find out? This is a web browser, Fiery. Hopefully. Uses MAUI kit. Close window. Okay, and I start Calamares. And also Calamares crashed, but also the graphical user interface application that's the terminal emulator station has also crashed. So now we don't get to see the output that we were after. Doesn't use journal. Yeah, I only know how to use journal.ctl. Yeah, I'll try to install one more time, and if that fails, then we're just going to look at the live CD environment. I will not be able to do anything because I have never used the tiling window manager, and that would be it. Start Calamares. Alt backspace does work. So this time I chose erase disk with swap no hibernation, and it's going to create a 9 gigabytes partition for swap, but still with FAT32 for EFI and /boot probably, a partition 44 gigabytes XFS for slash, 120 gigabytes F2FS for /home, and 19 gigabytes for /bar. So the installer got to the most lengthy part of the installer, the action that copies from the ISO towards the virtual hard disk using rsync. It copies everything excluding /proc, /sys, /dev, /run, and other directories. It's creating the init-ramfs. It installed the bootloader grub, does apt operations, and this should be it. Gives me the option to restart now, and done. We should actually stop the virtual machine and make sure there's nothing in the CD-ROM drive, so no ISO. And eventually we can also edit the boot device order to be back what it was before. Okay, now we can start the virtual machine. Okay, so this is probably the desktop manager that we talked about. Which is grit D and Qt grit. We will see. Okay. The first time that the desktop environment starts for this user, the user administrator. Again, I'm not sure exactly what the system specs complains about. We have 10 gigabytes of random access memory, 8 vCPUs, and that means 8 threads. Okay, let's see where is the list of installed applications. How do we get to that? I don't know. So I see tools, command line tools. I see tools for running containers, including graphical user interface applications in those containers. Such a tool is DistroBox. The parts of the desktop environment, WAVEbar. Okay, the components, executables. Debian command line tools. I'm not sure how scrolling actually works. Very, very unexpected what happened to the output of ls/usr/bin. Okay. So we probably want the App Store and to install some applications from there. But how do we get to the App Store? Nota is the text editor. How do we close the text editor? No idea. Close window. Index is the file manager. Where are the applications? I'm not sure. Fire is the web browser. How can I maximize it? Loadability something. I'm not sure. So the very first thing that I need to learn is how to maximize or how to float, how to non-layout automatically a window, because otherwise I cannot actually read text in so small web browsers. So I searched on Google Hyperland how to maximize a window, says the Windows key plus F to maximize. It actually works, which is unexpected because there's a virtual machine and other things that steal keyboard presses. Let's try to find out how to install applications. On the homepage nxos.org, discover Nitrux features. So everything is totally alien to me in here. The fact that it doesn't use packages and it's immutable, the fact that it doesn't use systemd, it doesn't use journald, it doesn't use SDDM, it doesn't use kwin. I have no clue how to install applications. It says that it supports Flatpak. Let's see how that works. So there's the Flatpak executable. Let's install an application using Flatpak from flathub. I searched on Google flathub space Chromium. I got to the page for Chromium application on the flathub Flatpak store. Let's look at the instructions. Let's see if we can install system-wide. Paste does not work from outside the virtual machine towards inside the virtual machine, so I should use the web browser inside the virtual machine, but then there's no enough screen real estate there. So Flatpak install. I'm not sure how the remote is named. So there's no remote. Let's see how install Flatpak. Flathub. So let's pause that for a while because I'm not sure if maybe the Flathub remote has already been added but has a different name. And maybe by just using the graphical user interface app store from Nitrux, applications from Flathub can be just installed without needing to use the Flatpak command line. So it says that they have an interesting file structure. So there should be a directory /applications. That is empty. Let's see how install applications. There's a thing named NX App Hub. There's a daemon App Hub D and a CLI. I don't see the graphical user interface application. So there's a command line interface for NX App Hub. So let's use that then. How do we search? Search web. Nothing. There's no web. Firefox. No Firefox. Maybe we didn't update. The metadata. Show. No applications installed. How do we list all possible applications that can be downloaded and installed? Search and no command line parameters. App names. Search asterisk W asterisk. Search asterisk A asterisk. No. So I'm going to guess there are no applications. So let's try with Flathub. On Google, I searched Flathub how to install. It asked me the operating system. It doesn't matter because Flatpak is already installed. So the only thing that we actually want to do is to add the remote for Flathub, we could install it system-wide or per user. Let's, I know, install it per user. So it says that we should use --user or -u. So let's do that. Flatpak remote add -u. I don't know exactly what I'm typing because I really cannot see. Not exists. Wow. I'm not going to be able to copy. So the applications just disappeared. I pressed Windows L instead of Windows M. It locked the screen and then it killed all of my applications. Wow. It truncates a bit of the text, this progress bar. The fonts, not all Noto fonts are installed, so there's a ton of fonts missing. Let's guess that these artifacts are because of the fact that I'm in a virtual machine. Let's see if copy paste works. Okay. -u. Okay. Okay, so I searched again on FlatHub how to install Chromium. Require the runtime. Yes, a ton of runtimes. Per user installation. Yeah, this part seems to work. So Flatpak is installed out of the box. On Nitrux OS, the Flatpak FlatHub remote is probably not configured by default, neither per system nor per user. I have added the FlatHub remote per user, and now I'm installing the application Chromium using Flatpak per user. Okay. Again, I have no clue where the start menu is, where the list of installed applications is. Theoretically, the desktop environment should present all of the .desktop files in a nice menu, which I don't know how to trigger. So probably I'll need to run the Flatpak from the command line. I'm not sure what the shortcut is for pasting. Let's see, Ctrl-Shift-V. Nope, Ctrl-V. Nope. It chose to use the KDE wallet, which is bad because this desktop environment is not KDE Plasma. Why should it use the KDE Plasma technologies such as the KDE wallet? why isn't the KD wallet configured correctly such that the first run wizard is not being run. Whoa, Windows M. And it killed all of my applications again instead of maximizing the window. Windows F, not Windows M. Whoa. Good thing. Okay, so Windows F. Default keyring. Classic. Finish. Password. Okay. Would you like to use this password anyway? Yes. Restore pages. No pages to restore. Okay. Windows F. So don't press Windows M for maximize instead of Windows F for full screen. But then if I go full screen, I don't have access to the menu from Chromium. How do we resize Windows? Yeah, but then we mess up the entire tiling. Okay, let's see if Alt F4. Nope, no experiments. Okay, so this is where I'll have to stop because it's complicated for me. I cannot survive in such an environment. So this is it. This is my first look at the recently released operating system Nitrux version 5. Thank you.